going to call the Star City Council meeting to order. It's October 20, 2020 at 7 p.m. I would please ask you all to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Barb, is the camera working? Because it doesn't show us up there on the system there. You can see it? Okay, all right, very good. Roll call.
Councilman Hershey,
Here.
Councilman Keys,
Here.
Councilwoman Solmonson. Here. Councilman Nielsen.
Here. Okay, all present, entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Keys.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. On to item 4, consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Keys.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of items 4A, special meeting minutes of July 28th, 2020. 4B, findings of fact and conclusion of law for the Hordman annexation and zoning, Openshaw annexation zoning, the Haven Ranch annexation and zoning, and the final plat for Greendale subdivision phase 4.
We got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Keys.
I'd like to offer a correction to the special meeting minutes of July 28th, 2020. In the public testimony for the Norterra subdivision, the address for Virginia Bayak is misspelled. They misspelled the word bay as bayou.
You got the change, Miss Meredith? Okay. All right, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, we'll move on to items 5A. We have Mr. Chris Hopper with Canyon Highway District 4. He's going to come up here and talk to us. He's got about 15 minutes.
Yeah, I can make that work.
You can make that work? To talk about some impact fee.
I have 6 copies of my presentation if you guys want to distribute those as best fits.
Do you have the little clicker up
I
there by
have a
chance?
clicker here.
Okay, you can advance the slide yourself, I believe, hopefully, if it's turned on. There we go.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening in person. Haven't gotten to do this in a long time. I'm probably a little rusty, but it is far more effective than the online meetings we've all been subject to. I'm here to present to you a little history on the work we've been doing on our impact fee program. To back up about a year ago, we entered into an agreement with City of Star and the City of Middleton to participate in a joint impact fee study. We are 60 or so % of the way through that study. And I wanted to talk to you some about what we've done, how this impact fee program is going to work in the Mid-Star area amongst 4 different governmental agencies, and give you a little bit of a timeline on the steps we need to accomplish in the near future to get these enacted. Everybody see the screen okay? Yep. I'm trying to read that one and I can't. So as part of our study, we identified early on that it made sense to adopt a single planning area to serve cities of Star and Middleton and rural Canyon County north of the Boise River. There's a number of reasons for that. All of our transportation systems overlap and interact, and trying to coordinate several different plans to accomplish all of that is far more complex than having everybody adopt a single plan. A single capital improvement plan and a uniform impact fee so that we can address these our future transportation needs in a comprehensive and cohesive fashion. The map of the area includes everything north of the Boise River, west of the Ada County line, east of Interstate 84, and the county line on the north side. There's a small area, several square miles centered around the Middleton Road corridor just south of the Boise River. That includes the city of Middleton's area of impact south of the river. We're proposing to use a methodology to calculate these impact fees in a fashion similar to that used by Ada County Highway District, in that we'll use the Compass travel demand model as we have modified it to identify the traffic demands for both the current year and 20 years from now, which is the longest planning horizon that we are allowed to use under this law. Establish what impacts the anticipated future growth in this area will have on that transportation system, and establish what projects need to be accomplished in order to maintain a minimum acceptable level of service for that transportation system. That's a level of service D. If for any of you familiar with transportation terminology, that implies roughly a 1 minute wait at most stop signs, a little bit longer delay at most traffic signals in the peak hour. The impact fees will be calculated by summing up the total cost of all the projects we identify that need to be accomplished in the 20 years to maintain our system at that level of service D, dividing that amongst all the new trips that the new growth and development will bring on. That list of projects, the capital improvement plan, will be prioritized by anticipated needs. We'll have a list of which projects we anticipate need to be done first. And we'll further assess which projects will be funded by which agencies. I'll get into that a little more detail here in a second. So we're proposing that each agency collect its own impact fees within its boundary. So the city of Star will collect impact fees on development projects within the city. City of Middleton will collect impact fees within their city limits. And the Canyon County will collect impact fees for all development projects outside of the two cities. Each agency will manage its own impact fees as far as the tracking, disbursements, and distributions to fund various projects. There are some details on this that we'll need to work on as we move through the details of the agreement. But in general, it makes the most sense for each agency to, rather than lumping all of these funds into one pool that we then have to distribute back out to specific service areas, makes more sense to have each agency responsible for their own fees and divvy up the level of participation in each project as a means of keeping all those funds under the appropriate agency's roof. Some of these projects may be outside of city limits, but they may be reasonably close enough that city impacts or impacts from traffic within the city could be expected to utilize that intersection of that roadway corridor. And that's the point at which we'd see mutual participation of projects. I would anticipate that the highway district, the rural Canyon County impact fees collected will be used to contribute to almost every project initially done in the city of Star area of impact, because the city of Star is very small in Canyon County right now, and much of the impacts that would need to make those projects necessary are going to come from the rural areas. City of Middleton may have some isolated projects that they are going to be solely responsible for, but the rural impact fees that Canyon County collects will be administered by CHD4, will largely be contributing to those projects in and around Middleton, in and around Star, and a very small handful in the completely rural area. We'll try and develop a proportionate share of cost for each project identified on the capital improvement plan, so we know what percentage of cost is attributed to each agency, what percentage to Star, what percentage to Middleton, what percentage to the Canyon County fees. Also, that'll be based on the number of trips generated. We can use the travel demand model to assess from what areas does this particular intersection or roadway corridor draw traffic or draw trips, and use that to assess which agency, what the proportionate share for each agency would be. We will I would like to be able to treat each project individually. We'll have a list, a capital improvement plan that will be developed. And from that, we'll have an agreement for each individual project. It can be fairly short. We have working agreements with the other agencies that we work with where we do joint projects. We have about a 3 or 4 page standard short form agreement that identifies each agency's responsibility, in this case, the proportionate share, who's going to manage the project, at what timelines do we all need to agree that, yeah, this project looks like it's in our interest and we want to proceed ahead. That covers that. We'll have
That's when I